I 33 male broke up 2 years ago. We have been trying to have kids but couldn't because of my infertility. It was just very disheartening for me. My ex wanted to keep trying, but it was just too painful. I told her that I wanted to stop for now before we looked into other avenues. She didn't want to wait any longer and broke up with me. A couple of months later, I had a drunk night with a random woman. To my surprise, she got pregnant, and yes, we made sure he was my biological child because I never thought that this could ever happen. My son's mother unfortunately passed when he was 4 months. Ever since I've been a single father, my ex has tried to make contact. I don't want to have any contact because my life is different and there's no place for her anymore. Her biggest advocate has been my sister because we were together for years and broke up due to the kids' conflict. And apparently now that I have a child, we could make it work. We celebrated my son's first birthday 2 weeks ago. My family and his mom's family were there. My ex found out, I'm sure through my sister or someone else in my family. She brought a gift for my son, but I didn't even let her come in. We argued at the door because she would not leave. My ex was trying to convince me to let her stay so she could meet my son and we could talk about things. I already knew why she wanted to because she felt like she could take his mom's place in his life, and that would not happen. She eventually did leave, but I was pretty mad at that point. My ex wanted to leave the gifts for him. I refused to accept it because she didn't think she had a chance of being around. Well, she left it at my door, so I just threw it away. He got plenty of other gifts anyways because this happened in front of everyone. My ex insists I was the idiot for humiliating her in front of my family and my son's mom's family. It would have been less chaotic to have taken her to the side and had a private conversation so she could have slipped out without anyone noticing. On top of that, she found out I got rid of her gift, which they thought I was an idiot for because it was meant for him and it didn't give me the right to throw out something that belonged to my son. I'm still bitter towards my ex for how things ended, and seeing her made me react that way because it was out of anger and hate for her. I'm wondering if I'm the idiot for how the whole thing was handled or was I in the right. She crashed the party uninvited. Who gave her the date and location? Your sister, and then got upset that she was thrown out. Screw that noise. Not the idiot OP. You crash a party, you get what's coming to you. Your sister is in my mind stupid. If a relationship can't work on its own, having a child in the mix isn't going to make it perfect. Magically, if your ex continues to try to insert herself in you and your son's lives, tell her to stop or you'll take legal action. Look into getting a restraining order just in case. Agree. Opie needs to sit his sister down for a come-to-Jesus talk and let her know that if she interferes anymore or even mentions ex-wife, he will go no contact with her. Even if sis does behave from now on, I would also put her on an info diet as it's obvious she's feeding every word back to the ex. I wonder if the ex was secretly on birth control during the relationship with OP. Maybe she was the infertile one, not OP from what you say. It seems like she wants to replace the mother and is maybe even being egged on by your sister. So that's who you need to have a serious talk with, making it clear. Either she stops interfering or you will limit contact and information shared with her. A woman who dumps you when she thinks you're infertile, then rushes back the second you have a kid, doesn't want you. She only wants your kid. Story 2. My girlfriends and I are both 23 and live in a pretty small town where everybody knows everybody. Last week, I went on a trip to see my parents, leaving my girlfriends at home by herself with our dog. The way she tells it, she took our dog out to do her business in the morning. When she did, a man we'd never seen put his hand over the wall. We shared with our neighbors and asked if my girlfriend was going out that day because he was doing roofing work on the house next door and didn't want the noise to bother her. An obvious red flag to me, but not to my girlfriend, who decided to tell him her plans for the day, including going out. She went out with the dog and returned to the house having been robbed. There weren't loads taken, but my laptop was among the things she called me, obviously upset. And when I asked her who it could have been, she told me about the morning incident. It turned out she hadn't even locked the back door after just telling this random man she would be out of the house all day. I told her that it was completely her fault and that her lack of critical thinking was concerning, and told her as a joke to go to a doctor. We've been arguing about it ever since, and everyone has pretty much told me that I'm being harsh on her and it isn't her fault. Am I the idiot? You are the idiot, like I get it. You were upset that the house was robbed and your girlfriend showed a significant lapse in judgment still. I mean, I'd probably blame the robber. Like honestly, what is helped by your comments? What is helped by getting so angry at her? Don't you think she's already beating herself up about her role in this? OP is not the idiot. He said she didn't lock the door. Who doesn't lock the door when they go outside? When people do stupid things, you get angry at them. Nothing is ever helped by anger, but it is a natural emotion that human beings feel. At the very least, she owes them a new laptop. You all need to know that when someone commits a crime against someone, even if the victim made mistakes, they're still the victim. What is getting so mad at her accomplish? She knows what the guy looks like, so she should report him to the police. You are the idiot. She already knows she messed up. No need to kick her while she's down, and frankly, it could have been much worse. She was alone. Anything could have happened to her. Everyone's the idiot here. Everyone defending the girlfriend is doing so for the wrong reasons. She did mess up by divulging plans for the date to a stranger and not locking the door. If she said nothing and carried on, assuming the robber was a random person, they'd be less likely to rob the place. Obviously, the boyfriend should not have rubbed it in and consoled his partner, but she's not blameless God. People are so biased against men, being naive but not women. It's insane. She has now learned a very important lesson and luckily was not physically harmed. OP. You obviously know being a douche about the situation will not improve anything. Story 3. My cousin Rick and his wife, Lee, have an 18-year-old daughter. Meg. Lee mentioned to me at a family reunion that Meg was planning on going to college for computer science, just like I did. I didn't really want to get into my thoughts about that. So I said, cool, and Rick commented that he was hoping I'd have some advice for her since I'd done a CS degree too. I said, I'm not sure y'all will like what I have to say. Rick said, how so? And Meg said, I'd like to hear it. I said, okay, honestly, my first piece of advice is don't. If I could go back and knowing what I know now, I never would have started that degree. Lee asked what I was talking about. Meg had an aptitude for it. Meg said that she also really loved it. She was in the robotics club at school and she wanted to know what I was talking about. I gave her a brief rundown of my career. I was sold in the whole girl power corporate feminism that I grew up with. I went to college and found the curriculum doable, but the amount of harassment I dealt with from peers and professors was really difficult. I graduated and found the industry was even worse than college. I left my first job due to harassment from my direct manager and later his management in HR's retaliation against me for reporting. I found a new job and the cycle repeated. At 28, I've quit 3 jobs due to persistent harassment that HR and management would either not address or would actively contribute to. I had made a group of female friends and mentors at the start of my career. Unfortunately, 9 years later, these women I looked up to as role models have all left the industry. I feel pretty hopeless, seeing the people I looked up to all couldn't handle it. So how can I? I said that if I could go back, I'd trade all the money I made in this field for my mental health and my personal safety. You can't put a price on those things. Rick said she wanted to talk more and wanted to trade numbers with me. I was about to give her mine when Rick slammed a hand down on the table and told me no. He told me that it was completely inappropriate of me to try to talk his daughter out of a good career. I interjected to say, did you miss everything? I said, it isn't a good career. It doesn't matter how much it pays if it's not safe. He told me to shut the heck up and not speak to his daughter again, that it wasn't my place to ruin his daughter's future. I got irritated and said, I'm not trying to ruin her future. I'm trying to be realistic about what she can expect. Like, I wish someone was with me, but I did walk off since he was getting pretty heated. I haven't heard from them since. Am I the idiot? And did I overstep by being so frank about my thoughts on Meg's possible field of study and future career? Not the idiot female scientist here. I applaud you. You just did an incredible service to this young woman. They asked for your advice. They shouldn't have done. So if they didn't want the truth, I'm disappointed her father did not take this seriously. But I'm also not surprised he's prioritizing a career and money over his daughter's potential harassment. I don't know why fathers ignore this reality. They coddle their daughters when what they should be doing is preparing them for what they will inevitably face and teaching them how to protect themselves. Our society is backward in this regard, not the idiot. Although honestly, if you and all your role models have left the industry due to these issues, I'm starting to wonder if this is a systematic problem in the region you are in. I'm a woman in computer science and I don't have any friends who've experienced the consistent harassment that you have. You are the idiot. She needs to know this. But discouraging other women will not help change the industry, which is necessary. This is your personal experience and the experience of a couple of other women. Please don't discourage others. Maybe this just wasn't for you. Story 4. My brother and I are 8 years apart. Our birthdays are within a week and a half of each other. Every year we do a joint birthday, which I love. But every year I feel a bit like an afterthought when my brother got to the venue that we booked. Everyone said we should all sing happy birthday when he arrived. The cake was something that my mother knows. I hate not that particular cake, but one with a specific ingredient that I have a mild allergy to. She told me she forgot about that ingredient. His birthday present was well thought out to be something that he might love, while mine was a re-gifted present that I was only offhandedly told I would get at some point. I get that my parents are strapped for money right now and I don't care what I get ultimately. But my brothers were something he had mentioned once a while ago. And the present catered to that. Every moment of the night was catered to him. The whole night was focused on my brother while I felt like I didn't matter. I'm the older one out of us. And with such a big age difference, I never really had an issue because he was younger and I understood that it would have much more of an impact on him being a kid. Now that we're both fully adults, the last few birthdays have been like this and I fight tears the whole time. I love my family and I know they love me. I just feel so left out and forgotten. I in no way hold this against my little brother. He's seriously awesome and one of my favorite family members. I feel like such an idiot for feeling this way in the first place. Now I'm at the point that I want to skip these joint parties, not make a big deal out of it, just to say that I have other birthday plans and will catch up with everyone later once my birthday has passed. so I don't have to keep feeling this way every year. But I'm not hurting anyone's feeling. Not the idiot at first. I thought this was because you were maybe a teen and your brother was a little kid and therefore it would sort of make more sense. But you're both adults. I would just skip the parties. It's pretty inconsiderate to have a cake you can't even eat. This sucks for your mom to make a cake with an ingredient you're allergic to. That takes the cake. Why bother going to an event where you know you'll be snubbed? You and your brother could do something cool together. Instead, what the heck? This is really crappy of your family. Not only are they singing to you in your present an afterthought, but feeding you something you're allergic to. Even if it's mild, you're still allergic. I wouldn't even bother to go anymore. Birthdays are supposed to be about the birthday person, and if there are two people or more, then it's about all the birthday people. They are picking favorites and deeming you less important. But you have to talk to your family about this. You're imploding your feelings, and if you keep doing this, you'll snap on the wrong person and then you will become the idiot. Your feelings are 100% valid next year when they invite you for your birthday. Explain that you didn't appreciate the party and it should be held for your brother only. They will likely ask why, which you can be upfront about why you owe it to yourself. To do this, your family probably doesn't even realize what they're doing. Story 5. I don't know if this is a universal experience, but when I was in elementary school, my teacher used to pair the academically gifted, quiet girls with the lazy or troublemaker boys and give us a task to teach them something or discipline them. Most of the time I hated it. I used to complain to my mom that my student was slow or stupid, although now I recognize that some of these kids may have learning difficulties and would require special care. But at that time, I didn't know better. My twin niece told me that her teacher was doing the same. She had paired all the girls with all the boys and tasked the girls to help them learn their lines for the next play, help them with homework, etc. And guess what? My niece hates it. Her student is a troublemaker. He refuses to learn anything and makes fun of her with his friends. The teacher didn't ask the girls if they agreed to it or offer extra credit. In my opinion, she had these girls do her job for her. I told my niece that she's not obligated to do this, and if she really doesn't enjoy it, she should let her teacher know and demand she be freed from that responsibility. Well, my niece did it, and the teacher complained to her parents, my brother and sister-in-law. My sister-in-law then called me to yell at me. She told me to keep my liberal ideas to myself, and that is a teacher herself. She understands how overworked and underpaid her colleagues are and doesn't see a problem with it. I told her that if she doesn't see a problem with her daughter's education being obstructed for the sake of a boy who doesn't care, then she's the problem. I'm a doctor and I wouldn't ask my healthier patients to help me with the sicker ones. I know it's not the same, but you got me. My brother agrees with me, and apparently my nieces started a revolution in the class with her demand as more girls demand to be excused from this unwanted task. Although some of the girls actually enjoyed it and the boys are apparently learning. This shows me that the task itself is not wrong, but the way she approached it is. But I feel that from being parents to our younger siblings to being responsible for other students' education, little girls are being given more responsibility than they can handle. My sister-in-law still thinks I'm the idiot, though. This is all incredibly misogynistic and unfair to the girls and the boys. Why is it assumed that all girls are quiet and sensible and all the boys are lazy troublemakers? It's not the fact that students are being asked to help other students. It's the fact that it's all ridiculously gendered for no reason, not the idiot. But you and some other parents really need to tell this teacher if some students have trouble learning. It's their parents' job to help them out. I get this a lot growing up. I had to do this too, and I can't say I enjoyed it. This whole brainwashing of girls into thinking they have to be present always for troublemaker boys is just another way of conditioning young minds to enable this crap behavior. I get teachers are undervalued, but that in no way means that kids have to face the brunt of this. Like your niece does not have to be bullied into making sure another kid is studying enough. Get the kid's parents involved. If he's really that big of a hassle. If no rewards, extra credit are being given out to the girls who are forced to tutor, then it's unacceptable to demand it. One thing, though, is this during class time. This could be considered a learning situation then, but I still don't think it's right. It is doing breaks like she literally asked them to spend their breaks doing more work. That's illegal. What is this school propagating to the girls that they don't deserve a break? Nobody should have to do this unless they volunteer to help those struggling. And the gender thing sounds ridiculous. Good. A revolution started, glad people are against it.